And the Eagles obviously playing this weekend, playing the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And I'm going to go ahead and pass this one off to you, Xavier, first. What do you think about this matchup, and ultimately give your thoughts on who will win this matchup?
So first and foremost, I got my pick, the Philadelphia Eagles. I ain't gonna lie, I watched the Cowboys game versus 49ers and all that. And, I have faith in my Eagles to win it out, but I feel like it's going to be a very tough game. I feel like it might be a low-scoring game just because how the Cowboys and Eagles ended up coming out. Reason I really got my pick as the Eagles is because when they played against the Dallas played against Brock Purdy, that defense was able to neutralize them in a way. And that offense is just around when they started hitting the running game around like late third, fourth quarter, started like wearing them out little by little. Then, if Dak made a couple good passes in the clutch, we'd be talking about like a different segment right now. But the Eagles, Jalen Hurts is a dog. A.J. Brown, definitely a dog. Devontae Smith, a dog. My offensive line, they're physical as hell.
You think that offensive line can stop that rush from the
line?
49ers?
Yeah.
Look at Nick Bosa is great. He's an amazing player. I ain't gonna lie. But we got Lane Johnson. We got a bunch of good guys back there. If Cowboys were able to kind of neutralize Nick Bosa in that game because I watched it.
Well, to be fair, the Cowboys had a good offensive line as well. I mean, they have about 3 Hall of Famers in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my offensive line, my offensive line is better. It's a little better than the Cowboys. It's a little better.
That's not too much to give you. But yeah, obviously, Zach has picked the 49ers to win the entire Super Bowl, and mine was the only one. I was sitting on the fence a little bit about this one, but I am leaning with the 49ers a little bit more. They have the best defense in the league, and I think they have one of the most adaptable offenses. I mean, it's one of an offense that it's hard to deal with because me and Xavier have talked a lot off camera, and I posed them question, who's going to stop Debo? And obviously, the Eagles are well equipped to possibly deal with Debo well, but when you have Debo, then you have to deal with Kittle, because then everybody seems to forget about Kittle because he's had a bit of a down season, but he just lights it up where he just turns it on against the Cowboys.
And ever since Brock Purdy came in, he's been rebirthed. He's turned into that old Kittle. Brock Purdy has brought Kittle back. I mean,
and I didn't even mention Ayuk and and obviously Christian McCaffrey. But I think one of the things you were posing to me more was that you have a lot of faith in the Eagles' rush against this 49ers defense. What makes you believe that?
So look, we got a 3-headed monster. Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders. I forgot that guy's name. I think Gainwell, whatever his name is. The running back when they played against the Giants. I forgot his name. I ain't gonna lie, but he rushed for.
I forgot his name too, to be fair, but
he rushed for 100-something yards. Those three combined, I seen the whole Giants game. Mind the Giants is not the same defense as 49ers.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say. It's safe to say that.
But they still had a good rushing attack, especially because they ended up getting Leonard Williams back, and they had Dexter Lawrence there too. So those two guys in the interior, they're pretty good at stopping and run. But when I was watching the Giants game, I was like, okay, every time Jalen Hurts would go out the pocket, it would pose a threat because is he gonna run or he's gonna pass? So every time that ended up happening, it opened up the gates for like Miles Sanders and Gainwell to go ahead and rush for a bunch of yards.
The only problem I feel in that though is that Jalen Hurts is still somewhat still coming off an injury. I don't know if they really want to be risking him having that many rushing, especially against this type of physical defense the 49ers pose.
I think I don't think look, obviously you don't want your quarterback to get injured, but there isn't much. Yeah. I mean, you got to win this game. I mean, I don't think you're not avoiding rushing with Jalen Hurts to save him. What are you saving him for? If you lose this game, you're going into the offseason.
Exactly. There's a point.
So I don't think that's going to be a factor. I think that Jalen Hurts is it's a lingering injury. I mean, he's not 100%, but nobody's 100% at this point in the NFL season. I mean, everyone's got a few nicks and bruises. I mean, Mahomes, he's over here limping around. I mean, everyone is injured at this point in the season.
At a certain, I do believe that as well, yeah. But you thought it was going to be a low-scoring game, so if you were to just guess, or guess what the score would be, what are you feeling?
I'm feeling. I'll say the Eagles win by a touchdown. I'll say 27-20.
27-20. That's not that low scoring. That's pretty.
That's mid scoring.
That's mid scoring. But I mean, While I did want to ask you when I have you here, what do you have to say to a lot of people that say the Eagles are fraudulent, that they haven't really played any legit teams this season, that realistically you guys beat the New York Football Giants and now you're playing arguably the best team in the league?
Listen, what I gotta say is that I understand. I've seen the schedule. You know, we didn't play a lot of great teams like that.
I
But
didn't
I mean,
see
still,
you guys didn't play the Chiefs.
still to be at
Did you guys
least
even play the
14.
Bengals? I mean, who did you guys
Nah,
really
but
play?
still to be 14-1 is not easy. It's not easy either. You know, be 14-1. Mind that, you know, with the Giants, they playing against the Vikings, and Vikings was a 13-3 team. They're still good. They're a good
Well,
team.
the Vikings are fraudulent.
They had
They're
arguably
open frauds. They might as well have come out of frauds.
They had already one of the best wide receivers in the game, Justin Jefferson.
You can't deny that, but I mean,
they still couldn't do nothing.
That's a whole different thing we were talking about. I think Justin Jefferson doesn't play in huge games, but that's just depending on almost the whole Vikings team. I mean, when rubber met the road, they folded.
Yeah, but what this game
frauds.
against the Giants showed me, we got two dogs in the outside, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. 49ers, one of their their interior defense, you know, and Fred Warner with the linebackers, it's great. It's going to be hard to keep catching slant routes and all that inside there. But their secondary is not the best secondary.
That is the one thing I would agree.
With that.
That's the weakest part in their defense.
But I agree with that.
It's still the number one rated defense in the league.
Yeah, because mostly
to play devil's advocate, the 49ers do tend to give up one or two big plays. I mean, we saw it in the Cowboys game where that one deep ball to CD, if it wasn't to Dak's, like you said, Dak's inconsistency, it could be a different game. But I rate the Cowboys very somewhat highly. I think that game was very contentious. If it wasn't to like one of the worst performances of all time from Dak Prescott, like you said, we could be having a different conversation. But
and also,
I mean, the Cowboys beat y'all, so I mean, what is?
But we beat them once and they beat us once. But we didn't have Jalen Hurts, to be fair.
And they didn't have Dak the first time either. So
I mean, that's fine.
Maybe that's a good thing.
I don't think a legit Eagles Cowboys matchup the whole season. We still haven't gotten that, you know.
We still we didn't.
You know why?
Next season.
Because of Dak. Dak Prescott sucks.
I think it's safe to say, you know, Dak.
That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, but Zach, what is your score prediction for this game?
Well, I think I'll wait. I'll hold off on the score prediction until I analyze this here, because I understand what you're saying about the 49ers and the Eagles here. And I think that this game for me, it comes down to the matchup between the Eagles wide receivers and the Niners secondary. I think that's what this game comes down to, because when you look at this these rosters position by position, it's pretty much neck and neck the whole way through. I mean, defensive line, both teams have great, you know, linebackers, both teams are pretty good. You know, I would say the one position where you can say the Eagles have a clear advantage, the Eagles have a significantly better secondary. I mean, they got Darius Slay, and then for the Niners, they don't really have that guy, that top guy that is comparable to that. I still think that with the Niners' weapons, that they will be able to do enough. And ultimately, I trust Brock Purdy. I trust Brock Purdy to get it done. I trust Brock Purdy.
I like Brock.
I think that these teams are so well evenly matched. The only thing you could say that is a big, significant difference, because even the secondaries, I mean, the Eagles have a better one, but it's not by, you know, night and day. But you can say that Jalen Hurts is night and day a better quarterback than Brock Purdy on paper. I think you could say that. I mean, Brock Purdy coming into this season, we didn't even know who he was. You know, 2 months ago, we didn't even know who Brock Purdy was. Let's be honest. So I think a lot of people are not trusting him in these big games. I mean, I've seen people say that this is the game that he finally makes those mistakes, that he finally throws 3 interceptions. And I don't buy it. We have seen him just play arguably a tougher defense in the Dallas Cowboys, and he didn't make those mistakes. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't a perfect game. It definitely was not a perfect game. I mean, they only scored 19 points, but that was enough to get the job done. But the killer here is that he didn't make those mistakes. He didn't throw picks. He didn't fumble the football. That's what you see. This game is going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. And I don't see Brock Purdy making the mistakes. And I definitely don't see guys like Christian McCaffrey making mistakes, and Kyle Shanahan on coach. I don't see him making a mistake. I trust the 49ers in their coaching staff and on the field more than I trust the Eagles. And I think it's going to be a close game, but give me the Niners 24-21.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, to speak on that, it's most of the same points. I just think this 49ers offense will be too much to handle. It's just too dynamic to me. I mean, these guys have one of the best players in each position. I mean, Debo can literally do anything. Ayuk is one of the better, like, to have him as a second, two A to, Debo's one A. It's just it's almost unfair. And to have Kittle, just a guy you can just unleash out of nowhere, and then Christian McCaffrey, who fits this offense like a
Oh
glove.
my! I mean, that was
He's
that's the best trade
because
of this
when we
NFL
when we
season.
talked about it originally, we were like, who won this trade? Well, it's almost kind of clear now who's won the trade because
And
he's
at the
been able to
time,
stay.
at the time, you said the Panthers. Let's not
At the
forget.
time, I said the Panthers because I did not expect Christian McCaffrey to be able to stay healthy, but he's found a way to somehow do it. And Brock Purdy's made this team better. This team is better than what it was even when it had Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think they're better off because let's face the fact. I think if Jimmy Garoppolo plays, we've seen him in big games, he turns into Jimmy Gag. He chokes in
I think
big
he would have
games.
made. I think he would have made the mistakes that Brock Purdy didn't make against Dallas.
I think he would. Like, I think the upside of Jimmy Garoppolo is higher, but he has a big dip to where he can throw 2 interceptions and cost you a game. But Brock Purdy is more of a middle level headed type of guy. Even though he's so young, and I saw a stat that I think rookie quarterbacks are 0-4 when they make the NFC championship games.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Brock Purdy breaking that. I haven't been the first rookie quarterback to win a championship game and go into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, look, I 100% agree with that. Obviously, I think that one stat I would like to point out here. You talked to Xavier talked about the Eagles' 3-headed rushing attack, and obviously that's what the Eagles. That's their bread and butter. They need to run the football effectively, and that opens up the passing game. That opens up opportunities for AJ Brown and Devonta Smith down the field with that monster arm that Jalen Hurts has. But the 49ers, their strength on defense is the rush. They are number 2 in opponent rush yards per game this season. And that's on top of the fact that they already have the number 1 overall ranked defense. So their strong suit is the run. I don't think they're going to let the Eagles get into their rhythm. And that's going to ultimately harm them in the passing game. We're going to see a couple 3-and-outs. And like you give the 49ers too many opportunities, they're going to take advantage eventually. They got too many weapons. I don't care. You hate on Brock Purdy. You like Brock Purdy. With these weapons, it doesn't matter who you got. You give them too many opportunities, eventually they're going to take advantage.
Eventually,
It's inevitable.
But that is true. I will be actually at his house watching this game with him because I told him I want to see the life fall from those eagle eyes and see the Eagles cry.
Cry.
We're not seeing the Eagles in another Super Bowl. I don't think the States could stand it.
I want to hear this.
The only thing I'm kind of understanding is like, okay, the Cowboys' interior defense was good, but I mean the Eagles and Cowboys' defense is almost on par, and I think the Eagles' defense is kind of better, even though they got a Michael Parsons, stuff like and Lawrence and all that. But
11 from heaven.
But we have 70 sacks in the season. Not a lot of teams done that.
Okay, but
you get the quarterback.
So the Eagles' defense, even if it is marginally better, we just saw Brock Purdy perform good enough to get the job done.
Don't get me wrong, he did, but there was chances in that game like Trayvon
Diggs
dropped
a clear interception.
If he didn't drop that ball, I mean, game could have gone different ways.
It could have.
The defense played outstanding in my opinion. The thing is that Dak Prescott couldn't capitalize. If he would have capitalized on those plays, 49ers would be at home right now.
Basically what you're saying is that if Jalen Hurts was in that thing, that he'd capitalize on those. But
also the Cowboys and Eagles, they play different styles of football. So it's kind of like the Cowboys are definitely a more pass-oriented team than the Eagles are.
And they had to because Tony Pollard went out
exactly
injured.
Because Tony Pollard was injured. Yeah.
But also, I think another thing that has to be remembered that the 49ers, we talk about how much the 49ers have the best almost in fucking everything, but they have the best offensive line. What they are best at is protecting Brock Purdy. They can protect Brock Purdy very, very well. And I mean, they were able to protect them pretty good from Micah Parsons, a guy who's one of the best at getting to the quarterback. And I think what went wrong, I mean, this is almost different talk about the Cowboys game. What went wrong is that they misused Micah Parsons, but literally, I don't think the Eagles have someone on that team that can get to the quarterback like Micah can. And they were able, the 49ers were able to nullify that to a certain extent.
And if the Eagles aren't able to create pressure moments, whether it's forcing Brock Purdy out of the pocket and throwing an interception, or stripping the ball and getting a fumble, or creating some kind of mistake, I don't think that they're going to be able to win this game. They're going to need to create some sort of mistake. Brock Purdy's going to have to make the mistakes that he hasn't made yet in order for the Eagles to win this game, in my opinion. And that's why I'm sticking with the 49ers.
So I think whoever wins the interior offensive line, defensive line, wins the game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's a trenches battle. Yeah,
trenches. Whoever wins that is going to win the game.
That's why I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I mean, this is going to be a true dog fight. This is something. That's why I'm excited for this game, because you don't see matchups like this truly often in the NFL anymore. I mean, this is a true dog fight. It's going to be blows being shed. I mean, it's going to be punch. Who's going to be the last one standing?
I do feel this is like the more like in stone type game that like really prove to most people that the Eagles are legit, because I mean like there's a lot of people that like I said, don't believe the Eagles, that their record is somewhat like the Vikings, that it's kind of inflated with gimme wins.
I can kind of see that. I mean, even so far, I mean,
if
look,
the Eagles beat the 49ers, like
it would be
that is fully fall out of your seat. Holy shit.
And what I think
this 49ers team is so good.
I think what would make it even more impressive for me is that I don't think the Eagles have played a truly like, look, okay, the Giants they're a good football team, but they're not a great football team. Nowhere near the 49ers. And so obviously the Eagles had a bye before that. I don't think the Eagles have played a truly tough football game in a while.
Because I'm looking through the schedule right now, and they haven't played
I mean, they had a week off.
The Chiefs, they didn't play the Bills, they haven't played any of those other type of teams. So it's hard to the only really difficult teams they played is the Cowboys and a washed Aaron Rodgers. Like, I mean,
I think to be fair, the Eagles, I mean, we haven't played a defense like the Niners, but I don't think the Niners have played an offense like us. Because to be fair, when they played against Kansas City, they might have Jimmy Garoppolo, but they kind of got smoked against Kansas City. They got smoked, and that's a high-power offense. And they don't have the receivers we do. They had Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, he's like Greg Kittle, great-ass tight end.
I mean, one of the greatest tight ends of all time.
Yeah,
but to be fair, I think though, if one team is led by Patrick Mahomes, and
I think Mahomes is better.
I think Mahomes is better.
He's better suited to pick apart.
He's better suited, and I do think he's a better quarterback.
I think both. But I mean, like we said, the Eagles, they're a more rush-oriented offense, even with Jalen Hurts when he's 100%.
I feel like with Jalen Hurts, he's gonna be one of the X factors for sure. Because if he's able to move out the pocket, they're gonna have to have somebody there watching him. So
they're gonna have to. I mean, what's a better quarterback spot than Fred Warner?
I mean, yeah, that's true. But the thing that when stuff like that happens, I feel like it's going to open up the passing game, and one of those corners will get picked off.
Yeah, no, it's going to happen.
I mean, they're going to need that one big play. They're going to need it.
I can see AJ Brown catching a long touchdown at one point during this game, but are they going to be able to? That's not going to be consistent.
I just feel like the Eagles got more confident after seeing the Cowboys game, because I feel like Philly fans and everybody believe that Jalen Hurts would have made those passes that Dak should have made, and Niners would be at home right now.
I think that's you can make that argument that Jalen Hurts would have performed better than Dak, but also I don't think that the 49ers are going to play down as much as potentially they did. Look, I don't think they're going to only score 19 points. I mean, that's tough.
That was pretty tough.
I think they're going to perform a little bit better as well.
They're comparable defenses, the two. I mean, the Cowboys through this entire season have had one of the better defenses in the league.